Namaste. You are most welcome in this Radio Parsala program. You may listen this program from Radio Suseli 106.3 MHz, and you may also watch this program from Nispaksha TV. And as usual, I am Basudev Pokhrel, economics teacher, and today I am going to discuss something about how are price and output determined under perfect competition. Okay, dear students, now I think you are ready and you have got book and you are using your copy also, book also, pencil, scale also. And now at first we are going to discuss about this topic. The topic is process of price and output determination under perfect competition. Because in our previous class we have discussed what is the meaning of perfect competition and how are and what are the characteristics or features of perfect competition we discussed in our previous class. That's why today we are going to discuss about this topic. The topic is process of price and output determination under perfect competition. I think you have written these topics. Now let's discuss. Now we know that perfect competition is that type of market structure in which large number of buyers and sellers, they buy and sell homogeneous or identical goods and commodities. We know this. And not only this. And what happens that in such types of market structure, there is perfect mobility of factors of production. Transportation cost is not included while fixing the price. Industry is the price maker and individual firm or individual seller is the price taker. That's why price remains constant under perfect competition. So now, how are price and output determined under perfect competition? We are going to discuss. So, while determining price and output under perfect competition, demand and supply play very important role. That means, due to the interaction or due to the equal participation of demand and supply, price and output are determined under perfect competition. Now, at the beginning, there was a great controversy. There had been a long controversy about in economics whether the price is determined by demand for a commodity or supply of a commodity. There had been a long controversy. Some economists, they viewed that demand plays crucial role or demand plays very important role while fixing or while determining the price under perfect competition, whereas some other economists, they viewed that supply plays very important role while determining the price of a commodity under perfect competition. That's why there had been a long dispute, there had been a long arguments, there had been a long controversy whether price is determined by demand side or by supply side. But later on, in the time of Alfred Marshall, neoclassical economist, he is the pioneer of neoclassical economists, and now he clearly said, that is Marshall clearly said that price is determined by the role of demand as well as supply. That means, according to Alfred Marshall, price of a particular commodity is not only determined by supply side or it is not only determined by demand side. That means there is the equal participation or equal role of demand and supply while fixing the price of a commodity under perfect competition, according to Alfred Marshall. And to make it clear, he had given an example of a pair of scissors. Now, we use scissors to cut a piece of cloth or to cut a piece of paper. Now, it is very difficult to say whether which blade, that is either upper blade or the down blade or the lower blade of a pair of scissors cut a piece of paper. It is very difficult to say. Likewise, we cannot say with certainty that which one, either demand or supply, plays important role while fixing the price. That means to cut a piece of paper, to cut a piece of cloth, both blades are equally needed. That means while cutting a piece of paper, both blades of that scissors play equal role, or there is the equal participation of both blades while cutting a piece of paper. In the similar way, both demand side and supply side play equally important role while fixing the price of a commodity. That's why now this upper blade or lower blade, that means single effort cannot cut a piece of paper. Single effort of a single blade cannot cut a piece of paper. The effort of both blades is equally needed. In the similar way, in the same manner, to fix price, demand side, demand for that commodity, and supply side, that is supply of that commodity, play equally important role. That's why price is determined by the interaction of demand and supply under perfect competition. That's why, since demand and supply play important role while fixing the price of a commodity, let's write demand side at first. Demand side. Now, what happens that demand side? That means demand and supply, both of them play equally important role. I have just told you. And now, what happens that now demand side? We know law of demand. That means demand for a particular commodity is oppositely related with its price. That means when price of a commodity increases, then demand decreases, and vice versa. In other words, price and demand, they are inversely related, they are negatively related. When price increases, demand decreases, and when price decreases, demand increases. That's why now what happens that demand for a commodity plays very important role while fixing the price of a commodity. Similarly, supply side. Supply side. That means another element, another factor or another element that plays very important role in the process of price and output determination under perfect competition is supply of that commodity, or which can also be said as supply side. Now what happens that supply of a commodity is positively related with its price. That means when price increases, supply also increases. When price decreases, supply also decreases. We know this. That means price and supply, they are positively related. When price increases, then suppliers or sellers, they try to supply more by producing more, because at the increasing price, if they are able to produce and supply more of their commodity, then they can have more profit. On the other hand, what happens? On the opposite, what happens? At the time of decreasing price, they always supply less of that commodity, because when price decreases, now supply also decreases, because at the decreasing price, producers, they are discouraged to produce more and they are discouraged to sell more, because if they sell and produce more of that commodity at the time of decreasing price, then they will not get profit. That's why That's why. So price and supply, they are positively related. Higher the price, higher will be the supply. Lower the price, lower will be the supply. In this way, demand side and supply side, they play very important role while fixing the price and output under perfect competition. And after that, there is equilibrium. Equilibrium position. Equilibrium position. Yes. Now, after discussing something about demand side and supply side, now let's discuss something about equilibrium position. Now, where does these two factors meet each other? That means the point where demand is equal to supply. That means if demand is equal to supply, then this is called equilibrium. Equilibrium. Remember this. That means the situation where demand for a commodity is equal to its supply, then this type of situation is considered as equilibrium situation. Sometimes a question that may carry 1 full mark may be asked in your examination. Now, what is equilibrium? What is called equilibrium? Or what is called equilibrium point? Which point is known as equilibrium point? This type of question may be asked carrying 1 full mark. So, you have to write as the point where demand for a commodity is equal to its supply. This is called equilibrium position. That means equilibrium position is that type of position in which demand for a commodity is equal to supply of its commodity. And equilibrium point, the very point, the point where demand for a commodity is equal to the supply of that commodity, then this point is considered as equilibrium point. And here demand and supply, both of them are equal each other. So while discussing process of price and output determination under perfect competition, now demand and supply must be equal each other. Unless there is no equilibrium position between demand and supply, then there is no price and output determination. That's why to have equilibrium under perfect competition, or to have equilibrium position or for the price and output determination under perfect competition, there must be equilibrium position. And equilibrium position is that type of position where demand for a commodity is equal to supply of that commodity. And if demand and supply, the point where demand and supply are equal each other, this is the point where price and output are determined each other in that market, in perfect competition. In this way, we can have these 3 types of cases: demand side, supply side, and equilibrium position. Now, demand side, what happens? Price and demand, they are negatively related. When price increases, demand decreases, and vice versa. That's why demand curve will be downward sloping. Then supply side, price and supply, both of them are positively related. When price increases, supply increases, and when price decreases, supply also decreases. That's why there is positive relationship between price and supply. So supply curve will be upward sloping. And now, where these 2 curves, that is demand curve, that is downward sloping demand curve, and supply curve, that is upward sloping supply curve, where they cut each other, where they meet each other, where they are equal each other, this is called equilibrium position. And at this equilibrium position, price will be determined under perfect competition. Yes. Now, after this discussion, now let's have one schedule. We are going to discuss this price and output determination under perfect competition by the help of a schedule. Now, topic of the schedule: process of price determination. Process of price determination. This is the heading of the schedule. Altogether 4 columns. Now get ready, students. Now use your pencil, scale. Price at first. Price, that is rupees per kg. Rupees per kg. then demand, this is in kg, then supply, it is also in kg, and last one equilibrium, disequilibrium. Equilibrium slash disequilibrium. Disequilibrium. Okay. I'm again going to repeat this schedule. Now, heading of the schedule, write process of price determination. Process of price determination. There are altogether 4 columns in this schedule. 4 columns. The first column represents price, that is rupees per kg. Then second column demand, kg. Then third column supply, kg. And last column, that is fourth column, equilibrium slash disequilibrium. Okay. Now under price column. Now let's write 50. Start from 50, then at decreasing rate 50, 40, 30, 20 and 10. That is price is decreasing. Now under demand column, now write 200. Now price is decreasing. When price decreases, demand increases. There is in negative relationship between price and demand. That's why what happens? Now 200, suppose 400, 600, 800 and 1000 kg. Suppose 200 kg when price is 50 rupees, 200 kg 40 rupees, 400 kg 30 rupees, 600, 20 rupees, 800 and 10 rupees, 1000 kg. That means price and demand, they are negatively related. Price is decreasing, demand is increasing. And another, now under supply column, now price and supply, they are positively related. Remember this. That's why now suppose 1000 kg, then 800 kg when price is 30 rupees, then 600 kg when price is 20 rupees, then 400 kg when price is 10 rupees, 200 kg. Okay. That means price and supply, both of them are positively related. That's why price is decreasing, supply is also decreasing. And now last column, equilibrium, disequilibrium. Now up to this, that is 50 and 40. After 40, give underline, stretch or underline like this. And now what happens that here, this 50, 40, when price is 50 rupees and when price is 40 rupees, at that time demand is increasing but supply is decreasing. Here what happens that now in both situation, now demand, in both situation demand is less than D less than S. That means demand is less than supply. D, then less than sign of less than. D is less than, D is less than supply. D is less than S. D is less than S. Because look here, 50 rupees price, demand is 200. But supply is 1000. That's why demand is less than supply. That is, supply is greater than demand. And in the case of 40 rupees price, demand 400 kg, but supply 800 kg. That's why here also again, demand is less than supply. That is, supply is greater than demand. And now, when price is 30 rupees, give underline. When price is 30 rupees, then demand is 600 and supply is again 600. That is, demand is equal to supply. D equals S. And now at last, in the last two rows, when price is 20 rupees and 10 rupees, now demand has become 800 kg and 1000 kg, but supply has become 400 kg and 200 kg. That means when price is decreasing, demand is increasing, and supply is decreasing. Here demand is greater than supply. Demand is greater than supply. Look here. So this is the table, or this is the schedule that explains the process of price determination under perfect competition. Remember. So I am going to explain this table. Look here. Now I think you have completed writing this table or making this table in your copy also. Now 4 columns: price rupees per kg, second column demand kg, third column supply kg, fourth column equilibrium / disequilibrium. Okay, price is assumed to be decreasing continuously. 50 rupees, 50, 40, then underline, give underline and stretch this underline up to the last column. 50, 40, then 30, give another underline and stretch this underline up to the fourth column, and then 20, 10 and end this. Okay, now price is decreasing. When price is decreasing, demand increases. So demand is increasing continuously. And now when price is decreasing, supply is decreasing. That's why supply is assumed to be decreasing continuously. So when price is 50 rupees and 40 rupees up to price 40 rupees, demand is increasing but supply is decreasing. That's why here when price is 50, demand is 200 kg but supply is 1000 kg. That's why supply is greater than demand. That means demand is less than supply. And similarly, when price is 40 rupees, demand is 400 kg but supply is 800 kg. Here also again, supply is greater than demand. That is, demand is less than supply. So demand less than S. Under equilibrium disequilibrium column, we have written D less than S. And now 30 rupees. When price is 30, demand is 600 kg and supply is again 600 kg. That means when price is 30 rupees in the market, at that time both demand and supply, both of them are equal. That's why under equilibrium disequilibrium column, we have written D equals S. And last 20 to 10, when price is 20 and when price is 10, now again price is decreasing here and now demand is increasing. Now demand has become 800 kg and 1000 kg. But on the other hand, supply column, look there, supply decreases continuously and it has become 400 kg and 200 kg. That's why here demand is greater than supply. So D greater than S. D greater than S. Yes, in this way, this is the schedule. This is the schedule or this is the table that also explains the process of price and output determination under perfect competition. Remember this. Let's present this schedule in the form of a diagram. Let's present this schedule in the form of a diagram. Okay, now get ready. Use pencil. You must have pencil, eraser and scale while drawing diagram. Okay. The same schedule, by the help of that same schedule, we are going to draw the diagram. Now 2 axes, vertical axis and horizontal axis. Make 2 axes like this. Then origin point O and horizontal axis X and vertical axis Y. And under this horizontal axis, write demand and supply. Demand and supply under horizontal axis, and under vertical axis write price. Price. Okay. Now demand and supply, the lowest point, the lowest value of demand and supply is 200 and the highest value of demand and supply is 1000. That's why now make like this: 200, 400, 600, 800 and 1000. That means divide this OX axis, divide this horizontal axis into 5 equal pieces, and the first piece, first part that starts from the point of origin and to up to 200, And what is the length from origin to 200? The same length should be there from 200 to 400. Similarly, the same length should be there from 400 to 600, from 600 to 800, and from 800 to 1000. Same length. And now, vertical axis, this is price axis. The lowest price is 10 rupees and the highest price in our schedule is 50 rupees. So here also, let's break this vertical axis into equal 5 pieces. And it starts from 10. 10, then equal distance, 20, equal distance, 30, equal distance, 40, and again equal distance, 50. Yes, in this way, we have plotted the number. We have plotted the number in vertical axis also and in horizontal axis also. I think you have also completed writing in your copy. Yes, after this, now we have to draw demand curve and supply curve. Now demand curve and supply curve. I have already told you that there is negative relationship between price and demand. That's why demand curve will be downward sloping, negatively sloped. And there is positive relationship between price and supply. That's why supply curve will be upward sloping or positively sloping. So similar type of diagram or demand curve and supply curve we are going to draw. Okay, let's draw demand curve at first. Either you draw demand curve or supply curve, does not make any difference. Let's draw demand curve at first. Now demand at first. When price is 10 rupees, then demand is 1000 kg. Price 10, 1000. 10 and 1000. Use your scale. Yes. Make a point there. Find a point there. Mark it. When price increases and it becomes 20 rupees. When price increases and it becomes 20 rupees, then demand decreases and it becomes 800 kg. 820. Mark another point by using scale. Here, this one is 800, this is 20 rupees. Another 30 rupees price, 600 kg demand. 30 and 600. Mark another point. Find another point. Yes. Next one, 40 rupees price, 400 kg demand. 40 and 400. Here. Mark another point. And similarly last one, 50 rupees price, then 200 kg is the demand. Demand is 200 kg. 50 and 200. Mark another point. And now join all these points. Now it will be a straight line downward sloping because gap is equal. So like this. Join all these points and it will be a downward sloping demand curve like this. Did you complete? Did you draw this? Yes, you have to. Similarly, in the same process, in the similar process, now let's draw supply curve. Supply curve, let's draw. Now when price is 10 rupees, supply is 200 kg, 10 and 200. Mark a point, find a point like this. Yes, I have found. Use your pencil and scale. Price increases and it has become 20 rupees. When price increases, supply also increases. Now supply has become 400 kg. Now 20 and 400. 20 and 400. Find another point. Then price 30 rupees. Supply 600. Supply is 600. Same point. Price 40 rupees. Supply is 800 kg. 40 and 800. It is here. Suppose. And when price is 50 rupees, now supply has become 1000 kg. So 50 and 1000. Mark another point by using your scale and pencil. Now join all these points. It will be a straight line upward sloping. Upward sloping straight line. Look here. It is SS. Denote this supply curve by saying SS. SS. Okay. After this, now what happens that after this, this from 30 rupees stretch a line to your right hand side up to the point where demand curve and supply curve meet each other. That is, demand curve and supply curve where they meet each other from 30 now stretch this line and make this horizontal line, and after this draw another vertical line from that point where demand curve and supply curve meet each other. Draw a vertical line and it touches to 600. So this is point E. This is E, that is equilibrium point. Equilibrium point. Point E, this is equilibrium point. And now you may write here 30 rupees, that is P, it is P, that is price, and 600 is Q, that is quantity, demand and supply. Now in this way we can draw the diagram by using that previous schedule. Now how to describe or how to expand this diagram now? Let's discuss. In the above given diagram, OX axis represents demand and supply, whereas OY axis represents price. OX axis represents demand and supply and OY axis represents price. This diagram has been drawn on the basis of above given schedule. DD is the demand curve which slopes downward and SS is the supply curve which slopes upward. When price is rupees 30 per kg, both demand curve DD and supply curve SS, they intersect each other or they are equal each other at point E, which is also known as equilibrium point, and this is the price, that is P, 30 rupees. 30 rupees is the price at which demand and supply, both of them are equal each other. So price is 30 rupees and at this 30 rupees price per kg, 600 kg of output is demanded and supplied in the market. That's why price is 30 rupees and quantity demanded and supplied is 600 kg. In this way, price and output are determined under perfect competition by the help of this demand curve and supply curve. Remember this. So we can say that demand curve DD, downward sloping demand curve DD, and supply curve, upward sloping supply curve SS, they intersect each other at point E. This is called equilibrium point. Now I have already told you what is equilibrium point. The point where demand curve DD and supply curve SS, both of them meet each other, both of them are equal each other. This point is considered as equilibrium point. So here point E is equilibrium point where both demand and supply are equal and price has been determined at this point. That means 30 rupees price and equilibrium price. This 30 rupees is the equilibrium price. This is also denoted by OP. OP price, this is also denoted by 30 rupees price and it is equilibrium price. And OQ quantity, that is 600 kg, this is the equilibrium quantity, equilibrium output, because 600 is demand also and supply also at 30 rupees price. And now no other prices will be there in this market. If price changes, suppose if fluctuation in price is occurred in the market, then this equilibrium position is also broken. It is also broken And now suppose, for example, let's have one example. If price is 40 rupees, suppose, if price is 40 rupees, then what happens? Now demand is only this. Demand is only this. That is 400 kg is demand. But at 40 rupees price, supply is 800 kg. Look here. Look in the diagram also. So in this situation, demand is less than supply. Demand is less than supply. When price increases from 30 rupees, demand is less than supply. That is, supply is greater than demand. So when supply is higher than demand, then price decreases. Then price decreases and it becomes 30 rupees again, where demand and supply, both of them are equal each other. And similarly, suppose if price is 20 rupees, suppose if price is 20 rupees, then what happens? Now supply is 400 kg. Supply is 400 kg, but demand is 800 kg. Look here. When price decreases, supply decreases and it becomes 400 kg. And when price decreases, demand increases and it becomes 800 kg. Now in this situation, what happens that demand is greater than supply. When demand becomes greater than supply, or when demand becomes higher than supply, then there is the competition among the buyers to buy different types of goods and commodities. As a result, price goes up in the market. Price goes up in the market. And when price goes up, now it becomes rupees 30, where both demand and supply both demand and supply, they are again equal each other, and equilibrium position will be again gained. In this way, price and output determination process takes place under perfect competition. This is the diagram and this is the explanation of this diagram and schedule. From this, I can say that now you do not have any problem regarding this process of price and output determination under perfect competition. Students, let's start another topic, meaning of monopoly. Now after completing this price and output determination under perfect competition, now our another topics is meaning of monopoly. Yes, this is another type of market structure. That means monopoly market is another type of market structure here. Now monopoly, this is an English word. Monopoly, this is an English word, and this English word has been derived from two Greek words. M-O-N-O, mono, this is Greek word, and P-O-L-Y, poly, this is another Greek word. And now mono in Greek language is single. Single, and poly in Greek language is seller. Monopoly. That's why from this meaning, from this word, we can easily say that monopoly market is that type of market structure in which there is a single seller. The market structure where there is single seller, and this single seller controls the whole supply of a particular commodity. A single seller controls the whole supply of a particular commodity, then this type of market structure is called monopoly market. I am going to repeat it again. Monopoly market is that type of market where there is a single seller who deals with a lot of buyers. Single seller is there where the number of buyers is so large, and single seller deals with number of buyers, and this single seller controls the whole supply of a particular commodity. Then this is called monopoly market. Now we have got so many examples of monopoly market. For example, Nepal Electricity Authority, NEA, Nepal Oil Corporation, NOC. These are some examples of monopoly market in the context of Nepal. Okay, this is the meaning. Now from this, I think you are clear about the meaning. That is definition. What is monopoly market? A market structure where a single seller controls the whole supply of a particular commodity in the market is called monopoly market. Here, other sellers are not allowed to enter into the market, and there are no substitutes available in the market. That is called monopoly market. After this, after discussing this meaning of monopoly, then features of monopoly market. Features of monopoly market. Features, that means characteristics also. We say characteristics also. Now, a monopoly market has got the following features. The first one, single seller. Single seller. I have already told you while discussing the definition of monopoly market, that is, to be a monopoly market, there must be only one seller. There must be a single seller. If there is more than one seller, then competition takes place. Remember this. So, to be a monopoly market, there must be a single seller. There must be only one seller. So, there is a single firm producing the commodity in the market. This is one characteristics or feature of monopoly market. Next one, no close substitutes. No close substitutes. Yes. Another characteristics or another features of monopoly market is that close substitutes are not available in this market. Now, substitutes means if one commodity can be replaced to another commodity, or if one commodity can be used for another commodity to fulfill the same type of desire or want, then this is called substitute commodity. For example, Coke and Fanta, tea and coffee, they are substitute goods. Now, such types of close substitutes are not available in monopoly market. We do not have such types of close substitutes. Only one type of commodity is there. Either we want to purchase that one or do not want to purchase that one. In addition to that commodity, there are no other similar type of commodities available in the market. Remember this. That's why close substitutes are not available there. Then next one is no entry of new firms or sellers. No entry of new firms or sellers. That means entry of new firms or sellers in monopoly market is completely prohibited, completely restricted. If there is the entry of new firm takes place, then what happens? That competition is there. So this may not be termed as monopoly market. So to be a monopoly market, new firms and new sellers are prohibited to enter into the market. Next one, own price policy. Own price policy. That means monopolist has got the own price policy. He is himself an industry and he is himself a seller also, firm also. That's why now what happens that if he wants to increase the price, he can do that. If he wants to decrease the price, he can do that. So he has got his own price policy. But under perfect competition, what happens? Price is fixed by an industry and individual firm or seller sells that commodity under that price. Individual firm and seller does not have any price policy under perfect competition. Industry has the price policy under perfect competition. But here under monopoly market, industry is the firm and firm is the industry. So own price policy. And last one is price discrimination. Price discrimination. That means different types of prices are there. The same commodity can be sold at different prices to different buyers at the same time under monopoly market. For example, suppose that now plane fare, suppose if senior citizens travel by plane, then they have to pay one type of fare, whereas other people should pay another type of fare. Remember this. That's why price discrimination. And still there is another one, you may write this one also, and large number of buyers, many buyers. Many, B-U-Y-E-R-S, buyers. Many buyers are there. Single seller is single. That single seller deals with many buyers. The number of buyers is so large. Yes. In this way, a monopoly market consists of the following features or characteristics. They are single seller, no close substitutes, no entry of new firms or sellers, own price policy, price discrimination, and many buyers. Okay, I think you come to the point. Now you know all these features. Now, dear students, now this much for today. I think you are following me and you are doing your best, you are trying your best, and next week we will meet again and we will discuss now how are price and output determined under monopoly market. And now if you have any problem regarding any topics related to economics, you may drop your comment in the Facebook page of Radio Socially or nispakshakhabar.com, and we will be able to solve your problems or questions. So now stay healthy, stay at home, and engage yourself in reading and writing activities, and we will meet another week. Now till then, namaste.